Good morning, Roller Derby world, and welcome to EuroCup 2023, hosted by Rainy City Roller Derby. I'm the lovely Beatrix.
And I'm Burr, and welcome. Today, at the beginning of this fantastic tournament, we've got two great games for you coming up. We've got London against Dock City, and then after that, we roll straight into Paris against Toulouse.
And then finally ending up with Helsinki versus Crime. And that's really going to set the tone for the rest of the tournament, Bear. But how can people reach us at home if they're watching on the stream?
Just hashtag us at EuroCup 23, Roller Derby hashtag. We'll be following all the hashtags, but EuroCup 23 is the hashtag you want to be using. If you're watching at home right now, good morning to you all. Good morning to Milv, good morning to Henry, good morning to Frida. It's going to be a great morning. It's going to be a great day.
It is, and we're going to head straight up to the studio with Sven and Loud and Queer.
Good morning. We are so excited to bring you the first game, which is London Roller Derby playing in black and Dock City Rollers playing in white. We don't have time to go through the rosters right now because we want to show you the Roller Derby, but we are off with Jam 1. Can you see who's jamming from here, Sven?
So it looks like for London, we've got Delta Strike. And we've already had I think we've got the Dock City Jammer's got the cover removed at the moment. It was Mithra that was jamming originally, but they are attempting a star pass right now, and we've got a penalty there for Mithra, so
a very quick power jam then for London. Delta with the lead and on a second scoring pass. Taken to the outside by the Dock City pivot, calls the jam. London first blood of this game with 4 points on the board. See, 8 points. So yes, apologies that we didn't get to take you through the rosters. We were all far too excited, but we will do that shortly.
This, of course, is a London power start with Dixie on the S1 jam line.
And Dock City do have 4 in the pack, so clogging back right away, trying to take those gaps from Dixie. Nice hit there from Malice Babs, but Dixie does shake it off to pick up lead. Dixie on a scoring pass. Nice patient footwork there. Dock City rolling back, trying to disrupt some of London's spaces as their jammer re-enters.
So Mithra back to track now as the London power jam ends. Mithra still got the star in hand, looking for the star pass. It looks like the star pass has been complete.
And that will be to Malice Babs, who did used to be a primary jammer for Dock City, so it makes sense to put her out as pivot. Another 8 points on the board for London. Dixie calls off the jam. Strong start here for brawling, but it's very, very early days. I've not had enough caffeine this morning, so I don't know how early days it is. Don't know what time it is. Time does not exist inside the sports hall.
It looks like we're going to have Sable jamming for London, and I think it is Bowden. Nope. I'm completely incorrect about that. That's Fred Finter jamming for Dock City.
Such a cloggy start, so it's hard to see who was jamming. A third consecutive lead for London as Sable makes it out on the initial pass.
Bellion from Dock City picking up a multiplayer block there. So Dock City now down a blocker who also is the pivot.
Dock City doing a lot of backwards-facing blocking to try to slow Sable's roll and do manage to kind of clog them up on the apex. But a little bit of offense coming in from Swan. Gets Sable through.
And another blocker penalty for Dock City. We saw high five go at the penalty box. So it's going to be a diminished start for Dock City in this next jam.
Yeah, it looks like 4-on-2 in the pack as Wolf takes the star for London and Bowden for Dock City. Now, I've watched Bowden play quite a lot before, and one thing Bowden really loves is an apex jump. So I wonder if we're going to see that. We're going to see a bit of defensive jamming, actually. So I know we're not at the apex yet, but first lead for Dock City. Wolf takes the star off very quickly and gets out of the pack, but Bowden is leads and will put the first points for Dock City Rollers on the board in this game. And that's the full 4 going up. How often have you seen these teams play before, Sven? Cast your mind back to the days of yore.
I mean, I've seen Dock City a lot. A lot of the games I've done at various WFTDA events over the years, I've been lucky enough to call Dock City. And I've called London many, many, many times. But obviously, as you know, the teams have changed a lot, probably since the last time I called them.
Yeah.
In this kind of setting.
Delta up with the star again for London, and Swan going right in with some offense off the line. In the meantime, Dock City are light on blockers again, so Mithra without much offensive aids.
And that's Billin picking up another penalty, this time a forearm. So Dock City again with the reduced blocker lineup.
London managing to goat a player briefly at the back. Delta does call the jam, but before she hits the pack, so no points there for either team, but conserves London's lead really nicely. Yeah, I was trying to think the other day when the last time I saw Dock City play, because I know they played Oulu recently, and I think Birmingham, but I know they had a really tough time in that game with their jammer lineup. They were missing a couple. But yeah, I've not seen London and Dock play each other. Did they play at West Track? It's possible. Dixie with the star again for London finds the outside line.
Fred Finter just been muscled off the track. No pass, no penalty on the return.
Held back briefly by Madge, but finds the inside line to complete the initial. Dixie already in scoring position and goes, no thank you, no points for the Dock City Jammer. Cut track called in the dying seconds of that jam, but must have been on a blocker because both jammers are on the line.
But it is now 4-on-2 blockers for London's advantage.
Yeah,
this next jam.
Dock City really bleeding blockers in these first few jams. I don't know if it's they've, just not found their feet yet, because they are a really smart team, and I think they're just getting caught out on some of these cut tracks, some of these forearms as well.
Meanwhile, we've got Bowden takes the inside line, picks up lead for Dock City.
Sable stashes the star and escapes the pack as Bowden is in scoring position. But a forearm called on Bowden, so it will be a power jam for London, the full 2 minutes.
So at the moment, all penalties have gone Dock City's way. I don't think London have picked up a penalty yet in the game.
And London, I think, will be feeling out this first game. This is a tournament structure. They want to win this game to play the winner of Crime versus Helsinki later. So I think if they can play a relatively conservative game. See, you jinxed it, Sven, because Valks is going to the box on a direction penalty. So announcer's curse. Sorry, Valks. I'll buy you a drink later. Oh, that is delicious inside line footwork there from Bowden. No, it's not delicious. It's bad. It's a cut track. But it looked so good. My producer, Billy Nosegates, just gave me a look as if to say, that was not delicious. That was illegal. Sometimes they're the same thing, Billy. So a power jam now again for Sable.
Good jammer awareness from Sable there. Realises there was the cut and managed to avoid picking that up and stepping out.
Sable just taking their time in the pack here. They know they've got time. They're talking to their offense.
Jammer penalty ends on Bowden, who's now back to track. Tries the inside, but knocked in by Valks.
Yeah, Valks and Bothwell drawing Bowden back there as jam comes to an end. Big jam for London, even though it seems quite slow-paced. I know it's easy for us to say from our vantage point, but a massive 16 points going up there with the double power jam for London. Dock City does put 3 points on the board. Bowden, the only jammer on Dock City to score points so far.
But we are about 9 minutes into this first period of this first game. Score standing at 41 to London, 7 Dock City.
And we're in a timeout. We are going to talk about a lot of amazing sponsors this weekend who really have been instrumental in putting this tournament on. Looks like we're going into an official review, so just while we're waiting for what that's about, I'm just going to tell you about a couple of our amazing sponsors. So Sovereign Transport Services are our track sponsors this weekend. So we have the STS track. They are a transport company delivering goods throughout the UK and Europe. They have warehouse and storage facilities available at their Liverpool depot, and you can check them out at sovereigntransport.com. So a massive thank you to Sovereign Transport Services for sponsoring our track. Really, really grateful for anyone who's contributed so that we can put on this incredible tournament. Is this the second time Rainey's hosted EuroCup? Yeah, last year EuroCup was in Malmö, and then in 2019 we had EuroCup here, and then there was the before times, which we shall not mention.
Yeah.
I think that's about right. We can see our lovely officials huddling up in the middle. I'm going to tell you my favourite fact about the officials, which I do at every tournament. So people who have listened to me on stream before, roll your eyes all you will. But my favourite fact is that a group of zebras, a collective noun for zebras, is called a dazzle. And so we have a dazzle of officials right now discussing what's going on. What is going on, Sven?
So the report from our amazing track communication system here is that London are challenging the points. They believe there was an incomplete pass in there, so we're going to get the result of that very soon. So it was unsuccessful, so I'm guessing the points that were awarded stay awarded, and London will lose their official review for the remainder of this period.
I mean, if you have it, you might as well use it. So Dock City, for the first time in what seems like a while, have a full complement of blockers on the track. We have Maran jamming for the first time, and Wolf out for the second time for London.
Wolf knocked to the inside by Snag, forced to recycle all the way back to behind the pivot line. Meanwhile, Moran is through for lead for Dock City.
Maran, an absolute veteran jammer for Dock City, so really excited to watch them play again. Wolf very quick out of the pack though, super fast on that star stash and that escape.
Pax ramping up the speed, call off made from the outside. Looks like 3 points, maybe 2 points. Two points.
So just little increments here from Dock City. If that's the game they need to play, then fair enough. But I think London are going to want to maybe change up the jammer rotation if they feel that Dock is going to get close to them. They will send out someone who's just going to lap and lap and lap.
So we're back now. Delta Strike for London against Mithra for Dock City. Delta Strike makes the first moves, picks up lead going around the outside.
Beautiful 2-wall at the back from London. Valks and Bothwell just allowing Delta to get that lead.
Patty from the block, executing the block on Delta Strike.
Every time Patty from the block does anything, I feel my internal organs vibrate slightly, because imagine what it's like to be hit by her. She's so strong. Mithra escaping the pack as Delta comes in on another scoring pass.
So we had the star stash from Mithra, but London see this and shut down the jam.
Yeah, I mean, these are all sanctioned games this weekend. Like, as much as we all love to play roller derby and you know, have our opposing team have the fun, London are not interested in anything except keeping that differential as stretched as possible. So I think we're going to see quite a lot of conservative call-offs. Most of the jams, apart from Sable's 16-pointer, which was a double power jam, have been these 1 or 2 passes and then not allowing Dock to score.
So Dixie jamming for London against Fred Finter for Dock City.
Dixie tests the ground, taken to the inside by, I think that was Kafka, but I might
Kafka.
be reading that wrong. And Fred Finter just shakes off Madge and Texas to pick up leads.
However, once again, we see the familiar sight of Dock City lacking a few blockers on track as Fred Finter tries to make another scoring pass.
And Ramit just defending at the back. Really smart move there by London, rolling their tripod up, but keeping a player at the back. Sacrifices 1 point, but slows the Jammers' roll to prevent them from getting the full 4.
It looks like there was a points correction there. There was 2 points being awarded in that jam.
Maths, numbers, not my strong suit. I was only 1 off.
I think as the pass on Ramit occurred, there was still a not on track point.
Yeah, that's possible. Sable taking no prisoners on that initial pass. Absolutely flies into the Dock City wall for a very quick lead. Bowden in the back behind Kamarakata.
Bowden tries that apex jump you're asking for, but Swan was there just to block the pass.
Sable goes past Belin, checks in with their bench, who is quite content for them to run it. And a third penalty for Bowden, a cut track. So, and again, Sable on a power jam, but decides, you know what, we'll take that full 30 seconds.
So London will have the power start with the blocker advantage as well.
And London are putting out Ellis. Now, I didn't think Ellis was playing this game because she's not on the roster, but she is on the charter, so that's legit. Unless we've just made a mistake on the roster, which is entirely possible. This is roller derby. Ellis on the power start for London. Madge throws in some shielding offense, and Ellis is through in seconds for lead status.
And Dock City unfortunately lose another blocker, so only 2 on the defense. London going passive here with the offense. No pack called, so Ellis is released for another scoring trip.
And this will be a very deliberate tactic of London, putting Ellis out for power jams and blocker deficits, I think, because that's really, like, she's an amazing jammer, but that's really where she shines. Very content to take blockers by herself if needs be, stay in the middle of the track.
Power jam comes to an end. And now Bowden's in, looks for the star pass.
Oh, beautiful star pass there from Bowden. Very slick indeed.
That's passed off to Payne Gretzky. Now they're being walked all the way back to turn 4.
And Dock City dropping into full defensive mode here, quite content to let Payne Gretzky battle this tripod at the back. And they do switch back to offense now. But Payne Gretzky looks like she's going to drop into defensive mode here. Smart move there by Dock City, trying to just conserve that points differential. And making it very hard for Ellis to find gaps on the track. So Ellis goes, do you know what? I've got at least 16 points. That'll do me.
There's a nice little bump out by Texas Heat at the end there as well. Again, just taking the jammer off the track.
So we have Delta Strike lining up for what I believe is the 3rd time, possibly 4th. And our wonderful producer, Billy Nosegates, tells us that Delta is the only jammer with 100% lead so far, apart from Ellis, who has 1 jam.
So a 4-on-4 in the pack. Delta Strike and Mithra. Mithra making the early gains in this pack, but bumped to the outside.
Still very close to the S1 jam line. We're barely off. Oh, Billy, you jinxed it. Delta has now picked up a 4-arms penalty, so this is a power jam for Mithra. Swan, Bothwell and Vaux in attendance at the front. And Camerat Attack also going, hey, if you've got a power jam, I'm not going to make it easy for you.
So now Dock City go passive.
Oh, beautiful reforming here from London. This power jam will nearly be expired, and Mithra is still in the pack.
Partly from the block, comes up on the offense, and it is Mithra now finally able to get lead.
Yeah, but Delta out of the box now and will hit the pack at lap speed.
Superb penalty kill from London on that one. Just managed to eat up all 30 seconds. But Mithra is now in on the scoring trip. Just trying to roll around the inside.
High five switching beautifully from offense to defense there. Noticing Dock City doing a lot of this backwards facing blocking, kind of catching the jammer on their chests and then moving into that backwards position. I don't know if it's playing in their favour right now, but it's clearly something they've been drilling.
Mithra forced the call off the jam, just being held in the back. However, once again, we're going to see Dock City starting the next jam, -2 blockers.
I'm surprised that Dock City haven't called a timeout to reset themselves a little bit, but maybe this is just the vibe. You know, get all your penalties and your naughties out of the way first, and then play a clean second half.
I mean, so far we've got Berlin sitting on 4 penalties already, and we're only, what, 18 minutes through the first period?
Had a nice little shot there of London brawling at their bench. Our benches this week are sponsored by Rollerbones wheels and bones bearings, which make for a winning combination. So thank you so much to Rollerbones for their sponsorship of EuroCup 2023. We massively appreciate you and everything you do.
Sorry, Dixie on track now. Already got lead for London. Fred Finter being held up in that pack, which is only now just getting into turn 1. And we've got the full complement of blockers back for now.
Dixie takes a little dive across the apex, will resit behind Belan, Malice Babs and Kafka. Not a fun place to be, I imagine. Fred Finter behind Dixon Madge, Texas Heat there. Again, a horrible place to be on a Saturday morning.
Ramad goes back on the offense just to try and break up that 3-wall at the back. Doing a great job as well, so bit of movement around Dixie now.
Yeah, but look at this reforming from Dock City, just putting their bodies in Dixie's way, but anyone who's seen Dixie Jam knows that Dixie doesn't need a lot of space to get through. Score currently standing 80 for London Rollers Derby, 14 for Dock City Rollers. Just a reminder that the winner of this game will go on to play the winner of the next game, which will be Helsinki Rollers Derby versus Crime City Rollers. And then the loser of this game will go on to play the loser of that game. So everyone has a nice time.
Especially us.
Especially us. We get to sit and watch some of the best roller derby in Europe.
And we've got a team timeout. So what we'll do in the team timeout, I know we're about 20 minutes in, so you've probably seen most of the players, but why don't we run through the rosters? Do you want to take us through the London roster?
I'll take us through London. I'm slightly familiar. So playing in black today for London, we have 004 Swan, 02 Dixon, 020 Sable, 088 Amazing Disgrace, 12 Bothwell, 1236 Madge, 1393 Texas Heat, 237 Camaras Attack, 31 Vaux, 4 Delta Strike, 474 Wolf, 56 Dixie, 6 Ramit, 999 Oblivion Newton John. But actually, I think they will have replaced Ellis. Oblivion with Ellis, because we've not seen Oblivion out yet, and Oblivion's a jammer. So Ellis is playing in this game, we can see.
And Dock City, we've got 1618 Fred Finter, 18 Bowden, 20 Billen, 2077 Kafka, 209 Mithra, 247 Billen, 31 Malice Babs, 404 Payne Gretzky, 41 Stopless, 414 Orton, 421 Patty from the block, 48 Moran, 5 High Five and 5-6 Snag, and that takes us to the end of the timeout. How was that for timing?
That was perfect. Do you know what? If I had a derby name that was High Five, I would change my number to something like 17 just to annoy people. But that's who I am as a person. We've got Sable lining up, and I think that's Maran, right? Oh, this should be a good matchup. Both spicy footwork. Very resilient jammers. Sable blasting through the front though to pick up lead.
Takes down Patty from the block as well.
Not easily done.
Lead.
And Maran in the pack, but checking in with their blockers, you know, keeping a close eye on the play of things.
The jammer cover is removed at the moment, looking for maybe a star pass or maybe just a confusion. And it is the confusion as Maran goes through to complete the initial pass.
Roller derby is 70% confusion, to be fair. Sable slices through, calls the jam off. Big smiles from London coming off their Rollerbones bench there. And since we've got a nice little shot of our official crew, our non-skating officials there, we'd like to thank Rydell. They are sponsoring our crew this weekend, so we have the Rydell crew in-house on skates and off. Rydell has been advancing the sport of skating for 70 years. No matter your rink choice, Rydell has figure skates and roller skates you will love. And we are very grateful to Rydell for sponsoring our incredible officials and crew this weekend.
So Ellis is jamming and has picked up the lead for London. Meanwhile, Mithra being held in the pack, which has barely only moved like 15, 20 feet. Now Mithra gets through past the pivot line to complete that initial trip.
Yeah, and this is, again, was what I suspected with London's tactic. They're going to put Ellis out on deficits. So when Dock City there had a blocker deficit, which looked like the full 30 seconds, they're going to put Ellis out for those kinds of jams, I think. Oh, see, I was wrong. You know, constantly happens, and yeah, I'm constantly surprised. Oblivion Newton-John is now heading to the line for London, so she is on the roster for this game. Bless her heart. Sorry, Liv. Didn't mean to do you dirty.
And going to be jamming against Fred Finter. Dock City being held scoreless for 3 jams now, so they're going to want to try and break that.
I wonder what they can do to answer London right now, because London's tripod formations and recycling have been super strong. And Dock City are really good when they're locked down in a tripod, but they just seem to be getting broken up a bit by London's offence.
I think Dock City need a few jams where they can keep their full complement of blockers on track, so that the blockers that are there aren't having to work that extra bit.
That would help if you had all your blockers on track, wouldn't it? So they've had some real bad luck with penalties.
It's that thing, if you can have a few jams with reduced penalty count, then the blockers that are on track aren't working double hard against 4 London blockers, and so therefore you're less likely to take the risks or, you know, get tired out as easy, and that's just enough to reset.
Yeah. Oblivion did have lead in that jam. Don't know if any points went up. 2 points going up for Oblivion Newton-John there. And do you know what? Dock City did a great job in that jam, particularly in between turns 1 and 2, of holding those really strong tripods. I just think that London have run away from them with this score, which is currently 94-14.
Yeah, they're creeping up on that century.
Dixie now against Maran. Madge and Ramit in a 2-all. So London at the blocker deficit this time, and that makes the difference here as Maran picks up lead for Dock City.
So that's like the 6th lead out of 18 jams. So you can see the way that London have kind of dominated that lead and used that as an advantage.
Wait, how many 6s going to 18?
3.
3, so it is a third. I was like, I can do that maths. I can.
Dixie with the star off.
Dock City losing a blocker to the box for a direction of play penalty. London now with 3 on track, but Maran calls the jam.
So now a chance for Dock City to put some points up while London don't. So again, just trying to get that momentum change. I think we've got a team timeout being called. Yep, team timeout being called by London.
So in this team timeout, we want to talk about something we will mention a few times this weekend, which is donations for Palestine. So I'm going to read out a statement from Rainy City regarding this. Rainy City Roller Derby is horrified by the violence and civilian casualties in Gaza and Israel and the increasingly aggressive genocide in the occupied Palestinian territories. We also condemn the rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia that has been seen across the UK due to the escalation of this conflict. Hosting and participating in EuroCup is an incredible privilege. We hope everyone attending or watching from home can get some joy during these hard times. This weekend, we are collecting donations for medical aid for Palestinians, MAP, and the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, PCRF. Please do head to their donation pages if you are able. You can head to the Rainy City Instagram page for links to these 2 charities. Thank you. And halftime whistled. Delta strike, not half-time, timeout. I've not had my coffee this morning, Sven, because apparently, you know, I came here expecting table service at the stream desk, and yet I am bereft of caffeine.
You said half-time there, nearly got up and left.
I know, I could have done. I was so ready. Well, we do have 6 minutes left in the half, so I'll hold out till then. Delta strike with the star for London finds her way through. Mithra very quickly taking that star off and trying to use their blocker, Bilen, to get through on the shirt whip.
But the pivot for Dock City, which I think is, is Malice Babs, is currently in the penalty box.
Yeah, so no joy there. Oh, a beautiful little spin on the inside apex there from the Dock City jammer. But sadly, that was the initial pass, not the scoring pass. So 4 points there for London Roller Derby, teasing that century. 98, place 21 in favour of brawling.
So I don't know if it's indicative of the style of play, but I was having a quick look at the penalties earlier, and it looks like London, pretty much all of the, well, most of their penalties that they have picked up have been direction of gameplay, so I don't know if that's kind of their style, whereas...
That sounds like a read, Sven. I don't know if that's London's style.
Well, you know, the style of the game they're playing is a lot more coming back to meet the...
I think you're right. I think they're mostly occurring on that recycle where they're, or then when they're throwing in some offense. Ellis not bothered by any direction except forward at the moment, as she is already with 4 points in the pocket, coming round on a second scoring pass. Taken to the outside by Kafka and the other blocker, whose name I can't quite see right now, but it was a lovely hit.
Fred Finter, meanwhile, is up front, surrounded by London shirts. Got the star in hand, was looking for Payne Gretzky, who was also up in assistance. Now Payne Gretzky's gone up front to try and stop Ellis alongside Stopless.
We have broken the century mark for London, who are at 106 points. A really slow, snarly pack here for Dock City, who once again drop their jammer to defense. And Ellis goes, nah, I've done my 12 points. Gonna go have a sit down now. Thank you very much.
So we've got less than 4 minutes in this first period. Quite a score difference at the moment between London and Dock City. 110 plays 21.
But, you know, things can change in the second half. I'm not saying things will change super radically, but you never know. You never know these things. Starting with a pivot line start there at the S1 pivot line. Haven't seen that a lot so far this game. Why not change things up? Oh, my goodness. Bowden ducked under London's arms there and picks up lead. Again, I think lead-wise, Bowden easily Dock City's most successful jammer, but also the most penalty-heavy. So that's where the phrase swings and roundabouts comes into play.
Bowden picked up a scoring trip.
Did they? Or were they? Gosh, were they already back there?
There was a score. Saw Sable advancing on the pack, called it off.
They were so fast, I didn't even notice them re-enter the pack. I was just like, they've got out. Oh, wait, they've apparated through somehow.
And Dock City are going to put Moran out next against Dixie.
Don't think that's a matchup we've seen yet. This should be good. Both very good on the lines, these jammers. London at the full 4, Dock City at the full 4. We have 5 on 5, just as the Lord intended. Beautiful tripod at the back here. And Dixie having to be really careful against this 2-wall. Hit out by Malice Babs. So forced to recycle. No lead yet.
Moran tries the inside, steps over Texas Heat. Picks up lead for Dock City.
Dixie swimming through the pack. Stopless picking up a forearms for Dock in their attempt to slow Dixie down. Go on, Sven. You were gasping, and then I also gasped.
I think these last couple of jams of this first period are going to be crucial for Dock City. If they want to go into this half time on a bit of a high, so they're going to concentrate, I think, on getting some points on the board, getting some lead and some control of the jams.
I think the difficult thing is that when they are getting lead, London are getting out very quickly, and therefore they can't kind of risk the run of the jam because they know how successful London's jammers have been. What they really need, and I'm not going to jinx it, I swear, because London will murder me, what they really need is a power jam. Let's see if the announcer powers will do me dirty there. But Delta is lead for London Roller Derby at the moment. Mithra has passed the start to Belan. So you get Dock City very quick with these star passes. But I don't know if they're going to be effective. Well, I mean, at the moment, neither jammer is on the track because we're playing some backwards roller derby like it's 2007.
We're going clockwise.
And isn't it nice when we get to practice our reverse laps? Del was just stretching out there. It's just like this lovely time.
So this is the third star pass that Dock City have executed so far. Now the jammers get back to the track so we can resume normal play.
Well, I see what Delta was trying to do there. She was trying to burn the clock because London had a couple of blockers in the box, and now they both returned to track. Oh, she's such a smart person. So we now have a, 4-on-4 in the pack.
And that was a good run back by Payne Gretzky as well.
And that does take us into the half-time. So, dear people of the Roller Derby Internet, we encourage you to go caffeinate yourself up to your eyeballs because it's going to be a long day of roller derby. Do go and check out Rainy City's kind of website and Instagram pages. We will keep talking to you about our incredible sponsors, and we encourage you to check them out throughout the weekend. See you very shortly.
Welcome back. We're getting set up for period 2 of this very first game of EuroCup here. London Roller Derby versus Dock City Rollers.
Yeah, it has been a spicy first half, but London are considerably out in the lead with 112 points. Dock City at 27. We were just having a look at some stats because we love some stats on a Saturday morning. So looking at the jammers on London's side, Ellis has only been out for a few jams for London, but has scored 32 points. Sable having an absolute blinder of the game for London with 37. They are London's leading scorer at the moment. What's happening over on Dock's side, Sven?
So Dock, I mean, obviously smaller score, but I think, excuse me, the penalty trouble obviously on the main jammer, Bowden, has however picked up the majority of the points for Dock City. The lion's share really, I think 11 points picked up over,
11 points
over 4 or 5 jams, but has had 3 penalties in there, so probably spent more time on track than more time in the bin than
more time off
really
track than on.
To.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what's characterised the game, hasn't it? Dock City, when they've got the full 4 on track and when their jammers are on track, are doing a great job. But so often, Dock City have been at a blocker deficit. We are starting, though, with 5 on 5. Delta Strike and Mithra, who I think was our first lineup. Delta Strike reset, but picks up a forearm very quickly. I knew I would curse her. I'm sorry, Delta. That is my fault. So Mithra now on a power jam for Dock City and picks up the lead, hopping over one of their blockers and the apex to boot.
So if you are just tuning in, we'll introduce ourselves. I'm Sven, I'm sitting here with Loud and Queer, and making us sound clever and handing us stats is Billy No Skates, the silent partner of the stream here.
Making us sound clever is no mean feat, especially on a Saturday morning. Mithra completes a scoring pass for Dock City, and I feel the need to apologise publicly to London and their fans, because I said, you know what Dock City could really use? A power jam. And lo and behold, the stream gods have messed me around.
Mithra tries the outside route a couple of times. Camera Ratak and Valks.
Yeah, Camera picking up a penalty for her trouble, though. Beautiful 2-wall here, braced by Bothwell. Valks at the back. And Delta out of the box, flies through to complete that initial.
That's Swan jamming now.
Oh, yeah, sorry, no, it's, yeah. That's what I meant. I meant to say that Swan flew through that with the star pass. It was so slick, but I got too excited.
Well, it is number 4 Delta Strike for 004 Swan.
Yeah, and that is confusing for my tiny brain. So, great jam there for Dock City Rollers. 8 points, which I think is probably their biggest jam of the game so far. London's biggest jam, it's probably 16. Swan as pivot turn jammer did pick up 1 point there for London, though. Train your pivots, folks.
Dock City do have the blocker advantage in this start as well, but Dixie making good. Oh, and it looks like Dixie, I think, has picked up the cut track. Oh. So it's going to be another Dock City power jam.
I'm so sorry. I did jinx it. I knew I would. Fred Finter, though, having to come up against Ramit, Madge, and Texas Heat. Lovely coordinated offense there from Dock City, but London wise to it. Reform and swarm around Fred Finter.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dock City trying to get the jammer out with only 2 blockers against 4 for London.
Beautiful one-on-one here with Kamaraktak at the start. But Fred Finter now does pick up a lead status for Dock City. Comes into London's tripods. And now at a standstill. Dixie back on track. Kamer throwing some interference in to help them complete the initial. Oh, and it's a power jam, a cut track on Fred Finter. So we will run the full 2 minutes, folks. Get your money's worth. Dixie with 4 on the pass. Let's see if Brawling are setting up a particular... Oh, they're just running in, trying to do some one-on-one, create gaps there for Dixie.
Yeah,
Stopless picks up a forearm, does not look happy about it, and that puts Stopless at 5 penalties, which is a real, should be a real worry for Dock City because Stopless are so significant. Apologies, 6 penalties. I can't do maths. News we already had.
I think that means Stopless has already picked up 2 penalties so far in in under 4 minutes of this first period. Second period. Where are we again?
We're in Urmston, which I understand is in the region of Manchester. We're in the Be Active Centre. It's Saturday morning, 11th of November 2023, and roller derby's happening, Sven. Does that help?
Yeah, I think so.
Or has that just confused you more?
No, that's grounded me exactly where I am and where I should be.
What you have to understand, people of the roller derby internet, is that when you come to a tournament to announce, you don't see daylight for 2 days. So really, for all we know, it could be afternoon by now. We have no concept of time. Sable has no concept of touching anybody, just flies down the inside line pickup lead.
Bowden is that Swan to beat and through the pack now, but we've already got Sable in on the scoring trip. Calls off the jam.
The inside line of that apex has worked really well for Dock City's blockers, completing the initial. They're able to really use that space so well if they're going one-on-one with the London blocker.
So London only picking up 3 in that, but they did shut out Dock City, so again, just advancing the lead.
And we've got Ellis, which probably... Now, this is interesting because Ellis has been put out despite the fact that there's not a deficit for Dock, which is, I thought, what London would be doing, putting Ellis out on the blocker deficits. In the meantime, Mithra, lovely little run down the inside line, followed swiftly by Ellis.
So we're a quarter of a track behind as Mithra goes up, calls for some support.
Smart work by Dock there, goating Ramit at the back. So that will be at least 1 point there for Mithra. Oh, no. That's interesting. Maybe she was taken out of the engagement zone because Ramit was definitely at the back of that pack. Hey, I get things wrong. I throw my hands up in the air and admit it. I'm a wrong person.
So Dock City have come out in this second period, and they have basically got like 3/4 of the lead in the jam so far, which obviously, you know, is very different. It looks like we're going to go to an official review.
Ooh. And we will have our wonderful house team relay that information up to us. But in the meantime, Sven, why don't you tell us about one of our amazing sponsors this weekend?
Since we've got the official review with our lovely officiating crew in the middle, why don't we talk about Rydell, who have been advancing the sport of skating for 70 years. No matter your rink choice, Rydell has figure skates and roller skates you will love. Check them out at www.rydellskates.com.
We really massively appreciate our sponsors this weekend. This tournament is huge to put on. It's expensive, and we literally could not do it without all the sponsors we have. Also want to give a shout out to some other people who have helped us put this event together. So shout out to Zero Waste Medals, the world's only zero waste medal producer. You can check them out at www.wooden-medals.co.uk. And they have made the winners' medals for this weekend, and they look really slick. Very jealous of the people who will get to proudly wear those. Also, a shout out to Create and Skate Factory. If you want to support a skater-run brand, they have art prints, stickers, and cards. Perfect gifts for a skater in your life. And the Hive Skate Hub is Manchester's only dedicated quad roller skate shop, specialising in roller derby. We have something new to veteran skaters, as well as everyone in between.
So I think that switched from an official review to an official timeout. So Doc called the official review wanting to challenge the points. However, and I think we might be going to an official review now. Yeah, we are.
But an official review of an official review?
So the first one was calls an official review. No need for the official review because the officials are already looking at the scoring.
Gotcha.
Dock City were looking about the points that were scored. But it looks like now they're deciding they are going to use an official review. So we'll get a second one now to see what this one's about.
Yeah, I wonder if Dock City were questioning the point that wasn't given in that last one. But again, I don't know these things. What else can we talk about? We've got so many amazing people to shout out this weekend that it's almost hard to keep track of them. But speaking of track, since we're looking at it, I would like to once again thank Sovereign Transport Services, who are sponsoring our track this weekend. We are on the STS track, and Sovereign Transport Services are a transport company delivering goods throughout the UK and Europe. They have warehouse and storage facilities available at the Liverpool depot. You can check them out at sovereigntransport.com. Super grateful to them for helping us put this amazing event on. It's so good to be back at EuroCup, Sven, isn't it?
It is. It's so good to be back. Seeing the crowd of people here and seeing the teams, and it's something that, I think we're starting to ramp back up to now, this kind of tournaments of old that we used to enjoy like
the
this.
Tournaments of old, the
golden days.
The golden days. Every day's golden when there's roller derby in it, But yeah, the last, thinking about EuroCup back in 2019, such great vibes. The vibes here again on a very cold Saturday morning here in Urmston are impeccable. And I'm really excited for the rest of the tournament. We've got Helsinki Crime after this. And then later on, I think we have Paris-Toulouse. So two absolute heavyweights of French roller derby battling it out. And then after those initial 6 games, we will go into the kind of placing games almost. The loser of this game plays the loser of game 2. And then Rainy City are playing the winner of the winner's game. I think I've got that right, but again, sometimes very confident, but very wrong. Back we are with the roller derby, thank heavens, I know how to talk about that. Wolf is jamming for London, first time this half. Fred Finter for Dock City Rollers, and we are snarled up at the S1 pivot line.
So that official review was, again, the Dock City decided they were going to use the official review to challenge the points anyway.
Interesting.
They obviously believed that there was some discrepancy in the score, some points missed. However, the officials, they'd already checked the score. They had discussed it again. Didn't see anything that was missed. So the official review will now be lost from Dock City for the remainder of the game.
In the meantime, we have points going up in this jam for Dock City. London, I think, at a blocker deficit going into jam 6 of this half. Oh gosh, 2 blockers out on track for London and the full 4 for Dock. Oblivion Newton-John did line up at the start, but is now being replaced with Delta Strike. And it's Bowden with the star for Dock.
So again, with one of those cleverly intelligent stats that has been handed. So London have only scored 12 points so far in this half, but Dock City are outscoring them by 14, and Dock City now have lead with Bowden.
Yeah, Delta really working this tripod. London struggling a little bit to fill that outside line. Oh, Delta takes out Bowden. I thought we were going to have an eating the baby there, but the jam is called with 4 points on the board for Dock City Rollers.
So Dock City must have had a bit of a good pep talk at half-time, because
had their porridge, haven't they? They're
on kind of 5 out of 6 leads so far, outscoring London 18-12. So obviously 8 minutes into the second period. Obviously they've got a bit of work to do yet to close that gap.
I think sometimes it just takes a little bit of time for teams to find their vibe. I don't know, but Sables vibes, man, this game. Tries that inside, gets shut down, recycle, goes, all right then, I'll take the outside, picks up lead for London. Really nice little slide there. Oh, jumps the apex, lands in bounds, shakes off a hit, rolls on.
Star pass from Moran to, and that is Billen for Dock City.
Yeah.
So now Dock City out, but London shuts it down, trying to now take some momentum back from this great start of the second half by Dock City.
I'm really glad that Dock City have come out with a bit more of a, come on guys, we're really good at roller derby mindset, because they're such a good team. I remember watching them play at Continental Cup probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was just blown away by like how smart they are, how cohesive. And, you know, a little bit of penalty trouble doesn't need to detract from that. Oblivion Newton-John against Mithra. Billy No Skates reliably informs me that Continental Cup was 45 calendar years ago, which sounds about right, even though I'm only 34. Oblivion resets, slices, but it looks like a forearm. Oh, no, they are leads. The camera was off there. So it's the Dock City jammer, Mithra, who has the forearm. And London, once again, playing this conservative game where they see, OK, we'll take that 25-ish seconds. We'll use that to start our jam.
So London going to be setting up on the power start with Ellis. Dock City are a blocker down. It's a 4-on-3 pack advantage to London.
My little gay heart just gave a thump because Alice is on the jam line and her wife, Bothwell, is lining up, ready to do her offence, and I can't handle it.
London set up 2 blockers either side of the Dock City wall, and that seems to have worked for them because Ellis is out now on this power jam.
Yeah, nice little crush there from London off that power start. Dock City resetting with a kind of staggered flat tripod, if that's even a word. No problem there for Ellis, though, who has 4 on the pass as Mithra re-enters play with star in hand. Oh, but a cut track for Ellis, so we are going to have another 2-minute jam. That feels like probably 4 or 5 power jams this game so far, but I'm just pulling numbers out of nowhere here. Nice little bump out there from Vaux, and a forearm called now on Mithra. So we've got a jammer switcheroo, good people of the Roller Derby Internet. Mithra will only sit the amount of time that Ellis sat that penalty. That's how the rules work, so I've been told.
Mithra already standing and released back to track now. Star in hand.
Ellis taken to the floor by, I think that's Bellin. No, maybe not Bellin.
Bit of confusion.
No, Kafka, sorry, my bad. Kafka sent to the box for penalty trouble, but immediately comes back. No, sorry, it was Bellin. My bad. Coffee's not kicked in yet. We now have a little bit of a standstill, so I can recalibrate my brain and talk about the correct skaters.
So we've gone back to what we've seen a few times before in this, where we've got brace 3s holding the jammer.
Yeah, really nice work there defensively from both teams. Just trapping the jammer in this kind of angled way so that the offense can't really get much purchase on moving that wall. Very, very smart roller derby there from both these teams.
I really like the coordinated stitch outfits that or jumpers that the Dock City bench
are
crew seem to have.
fashion. Like they always look impeccable with their kind of sailor-inspired outfits. Dixie with the star for London picks up lead out of turn 1. Meanwhile, we are still between the S1 jam line and the S1 pivot line in the pack. Fred Finter has not removed the star. Nice work there by Texas Heat, Madge, Dixon and Ramit holding Fred Finter back.
Lots of movement in that pack. There's all the blockers shuffling around, just trying to get some dominant position, but
now Fred Finter removes the star. Malice Babs is wearing the pivot stripe for Dock City, but is holding that outside line. Dock City have done this really well this game, haven't they? When they're at a deficit, they really clog into the opposing pack and just fill all the gaps to try to minimize the Jammers' path through, which I think is really smart play. Very conservative, but smart when you're trying to minimize that deficit in terms of points.
So London have managed to get a bit of a momentum swing, picking up the last 4 leads. So in the last 4 jams,
Yeah.
as that jam comes to an end, still got 16 minutes of this game to play out.
Dock City looks more comfortable this half. You know, I don't think it's just the fact that they're scoring more. I think they look a bit more themselves. Like, they're so strong. They're very efficient skaters, Doc. I don't feel like they do a lot of movement on track that is unnecessary, if that makes sense to you. Like I was talking about, you know, they're really much more into like the slow clogging than the massive sweeps, big hits to try to disrupt defensive setups. And I think that works really well for them. It's just that London has got a massive lead on them. So at this point, it's not going to result in a win, but it might result in them closing that gap.
And we're just sitting in an official timeout right now. So we'll give a shout out to S1 with the S1 Lifer Visor Helmet Next Level Protection. So check them out at www.shop.s1helmet.com.
We'd also like to give a shout out to Rollerbones, who are sponsoring our benches this weekend. Rollerbones wheels are designed and manufactured in our own plant in Ventura, California in the USA. This allows us to maintain our tolerances and quality standards, providing you with the best wheel experience. You can check them out at rollerbones.com, www.rollerbones.com. Back we go with Bowden and Sable.
Tight scrum on that S1 line, but it looks like Sable able to get through, but no pass. It was in the thingy, so lead still available for Bowden.
Bowden thinks that she had the no pass, but just resets in case. Little spin around Vaux, but escorted to the inside. Reset in turn 4. Sable in scoring position, though, as Bowden picks up lead. And the pack speeding up a bit and being very stretched out. London fighting for that top.
Yeah, good move by London, trying to get the front of pack advantage to force the call off, because obviously they knew that Bowden was already being outscored by the non-lead jammer, by Sable.
Yeah, Dock City do pick up a solitary point in that jam, but points means prizes. We have Mithra and Ellis lining up. We have just under 15 minutes left in the half as we head into jam 12. Skaters rolling back from the S1 pivot line, and Ellis threw in what feels like a microsecond lead for London Brawling. Mithra held in that nasty apex place. That's the technical term, you understand. Beautiful braced wall there. Dixon bracing, Texas Heat, Madge in attendance at the back. And Ramit satelliting around, ready to shield any offense. But Ellis calling the jam there. I think London realised they weren't getting much purchase on the defensive wall. And at this stage in a tournament, you don't want to gas your jammers, right? You want to have fresh legs for the game later on.
Yeah, I mean, this is only the first game of the tournament for both these teams, obviously. And
each team will get 3 games this tournament, I think. I think that's how it's going to work out.
And I think, you know, generally, a lot of the first few jams of the game are generally finding out the venue, the floor, how the other teams are playing as well.
In London, we call them pancake jams because we tend to, in my team, we don't tend to do too well in the first few jams, so it just falls flat like a pancake. Fred Finter lead for Dock City, but Delta flies into the pack and does pick up a couple of points, so just not quite sharp enough on the call-off there from Dock City. Feels like Dock City have settled, though, in terms of penalties. Watchers, I now curse them. How are we doing on penalties, Billy? Is anyone in danger? I think Stopless is the one in danger from Dock with 6.
And Billings on 5.
Yeah. Dixie with the star, very nice and quick for lead for London. Bowden bumped out by Madge. Flies back in, though, no fear. Spins round Ramit and almost stays in bound, but drawn back by Dixon.
Bowden with a star off. However, Malice Babs is up the front trying to up that. In fact, now we get the star pass to Malice Babs.
Yeah, nice eyes there from Texas Heat, but Malice Babs, a veteran jammer, and goes, you know what, I remember how to do this. Completes the initial, but no time to put points on the board for Dock as Dixie calls it. We can see we've just got a little bit of track repair going on there. Big thank you to the Rydell crew. Our crew this weekend are sponsored by Rydell, who have been advancing the sport of skating for 70 years. So every time you see a volunteer, a skating official, a non-skating official this weekend, just think of Rydell. Be grateful for the support we've been given to put this amazing tournament on.
So we have Moran for Dock City and Sable into the crushed pack, almost stationary pack on that back straight. Sable makes the move first and picks up a lead, rolling on the outside, turn 1.
Yeah, Sable having an absolute blinder of a game for brawling right now. Just really adaptive. Moran with the star stash through on the initial. And Sable, again, conserving London's lead, calling the jam with 4 on the pass. Who's been standout for you, Sven, this game? Because, I mean, we've talked a lot about individual players and stuff in terms of penalties as well, but, you know, who's standing out for you on the teams?
I mean, from Dock City, as much as, you know, they've had some issues with the penalties. I think Kafka's been a really, really strong blocker so far in this game. Obviously, Patty from the block. We've seen there's been a couple of big hits and a couple of big moments, but I think just the solid defence that you always get, the consistent defence. But I think Kafka's doing a really good job so far. From London, I think there's been a few like dominant players in terms of their blocking lineup, like Texas Heat and Ramit have been doing some great jobs when they've been on. And just saying that now, Ramit even now going on the offense, trying to break up that Dock City 4 at the front.
Yeah.
But as you see, Kafka there at the front maintaining, holding the 4 together.
Yeah, so for me, London Sable's been really standout, but obviously, you know, jammers are only as good as their blockers, right? Ellis, reset, flies through the pack, comes up against Stopless and Malice Babs. For me, Dock City, Malice Babs has been unbelievable. Just so flexible in that pack and really got an eye on everything that's been going on. Ellis with the lead for London.
Mithra looking for the star pass.
Yeah, Malice Babs not quite in the right position for it at the moment. Ellis locks down a little bit here. See, we've got, again, this staggered tripod, which I find so interesting. You've got Payne Gretzky, who is then facing non-Derby direction, and then Kafka facing Derby direction. It's almost like two trees leaning together and trapping something in the middle. That's the only way I can visualize it in my head. Really interesting formation that when they catch the jammer, seems very effective. 2 points picked up in that jam by London Roller Derby, taking their total to 188. Dock City Rollers at 49 with just over 8 minutes to go in this second half.
And Ellis has hit 50 points in the game now as a jammer.
Delta Strike on the line for London, Fred Finter for Dock City. And the jam is having to try different sides of the track a lot off this jam start. Direction of play called on Swan for London, so leaves London at a blocker deficit. Beautiful work by Camera at attack and Vaux at the front of this pack. Bothwell bridging. Oh, and just flipping past the hips of Vaux. Fred Finter picks up lead after a really hard fought 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, that would have been grueling. Energy sapping work from the blockers, from Cameron and Valks there, just holding Fred Finter in place. But Fred Finter is back into the pack now.
Delta doing some fine spin work there, does escape on the initial. Swan now back from the box. Oh, look, we've got a zoomed out view. Oh, lovely. See the whole track.
Tries for the quick point call off.
Yeah, that'll be at least 1 point on the pass. Getting past Bothwell at the back. 5 points going for Dock City. I reckon for Dock City right now, every point must feel like 5 points because it is so hard fought.
As we go to a London team timeout.
I would like to talk about Sucker Punch Skate Shop while the skaters are at their benches on the timeout. Sucker Punch Skate Shop is the biggest roller derby shop in Europe. They have fast shipping and the largest stock and expert advice at the best price. You can check them out at www.suckerpunchskateshop.com. They are one of our bench sponsors this weekend, and we are, as with all our sponsors, just hugely, hugely grateful. I can't emphasize it enough. We could not put this tournament on without these businesses. We just couldn't. We would be doing something else on a Saturday. What would you do on a Saturday if roller derby didn't exist, Sven? Doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
I mean, I'd be walking a lot better.
You'd have knees that work, would you?
I'd have less crunchy knees. And talking about less crunchy knees, make sure you check out 187 Killer Pads. Often imitated, never duplicated. Stick with the best.
Excellent segue there, Sven. Well done. It's almost like you've done this before. Now, I think we'd probably all be getting a lot more vitamin D in our lives if it weren't for roller derby, but who needs that? Who needs bones and teeth that function anyway?
So Dock City have already, are coming up on outscoring themselves in the first half. 25 points so far in the second half. Only 27 in the first half they scored. London have already scored 76 points in the second half on the 112 points in the first half.
Beautiful run by Bowden on that outside line. Dixie goes, well, fine, you have the outside, I'm going to have the inside. They are a quarter of a lap behind. Do you know, and when I see Bowden on a scoring run, I really just want them to keep going. But I think because they've had a few penalties that first half, they're going to be conservative. But they look very happy with those 2 points that they picked up.
So we've got 6 minutes left in this first game.
After this, Helsinki Crime, that's going to be a baller, Sven, isn't it?
Yeah, again, two teams that I've seen play many times over the years.
Oh, wait, Bowden's been put out for a second jam in a row, which I'm fairly sure is against her human rights. But maybe she likes to jam. Huge if true.
So Bothwell with the run back. Kafka appealing. Also with the run back.
Sable having to push against this three at the front. Now, Sable is super strong, but look at that wall. Patty from the block, Malice Babs and Biden, I think. Really grueling work here at the front. Sable with 2 to beat. 40 seconds in and no lead established. Look at all this lovely stretched pack on the STS track.
Yeah, Kafka and Patty from the block just been forced into that bridge position, unable to go back and provide that offense. But cut track picked up by Bowden.
Oh no! And it's the curse again. I apologise to Sweden. I really do. Just to all of Swedish roller derby, I cursed you by mentioning how she was doing so well, not getting penalties. Sable has removed the star. London going in for some like reasonably passive offence now, holding one player apiece. Not quite working, so they're going to reset. Try and snarl up that inside line.
I think they might. I was going to say it looked like Swan was setting up there for a hit and star pass.
Bowden re-entering the track, so penalty expired. Great power jam kill there by Dock City, it has to be said. Sable not out the pack yet. Unusual for this game, right? Bothwell, Cameratic attack, now holding Bowden. Bowden goes, do you know what? I've got 5 seconds. I'm just going to stand here. I've never seen anyone look so relaxed on track in my life.
That was just like,
That's the vibes we need.
I'm not going to get much done in 5 seconds, so I might as well conserve some energy, especially on a back-to-back jam.
Yeah,
so
I just really support that vibe.
Back-to-back jammers. Mithra did do a couple of back-to-back jams earlier on as well.
Yeah.
So obviously the Dock City jammers have obviously got it in their legs at this stage in the tournament that they can do back-to-backs.
Dock City's jammer rotation, I'd say their kind of jammer rotation for the last couple of years has been reduced slightly with Fraulein Freckless, who was on the bench this weekend, and she's an absolute powerhouse. So I'm really sad to not see her skate. But actually, this weekend we've got quite a few jammers that we know and love who will not be on wheels. We've got Crime City later. Curly Haw won't be skating, and she's been a figurehead for that team. So we're really excited to see, which jammers are going to step up and fill that real game changer spot for Crime City. Mia's not skating for Rainey this tournament, but we do have a jammer new to the star rotation in the form of Lily Gaskell, so that's always good vibes. Which is what I love about these tournaments, right? We see our old familiar faces, but we also see how the lineups have changed and evolved and adapted. But part of me really wishes that Malice Babs was jamming, because she just gives me a lot of joy when she has the star. It's almost as if this tournament isn't about me.
Huge I did think that. I mean, when I didn't see your picture on the front of the programme.
Do you know what, Sven? I've spoken to my lawyers, and they will be taking it further. It's funny because my lawyers are my parents.
The Dock City timeout ends, and we go back in now. Oblivion Newton-John jamming for London against Mithra.
So, little fact about Oblivion for you. So, Liv's been skating for about 5 minutes, and I'm not exaggerating. Her first tournament was West Track earlier this year, right? She's skating for Brawlin. This is her second tournament. West Track was her first tournament. She absolutely blew it up. Hasn't been seen so much this game, but she is lead for London. She has points in the pocket, and the most enthusiastic call-off I think we've seen this weekend, taking London up to 192. Can they get to that 200 before the game ends?
Less than 3 minutes in the game. I'm going to go to Delta Strike, and I believe that is Moran. Again, a couple of jammers that we've seen grace the S1 jam line a lot so far in this game. 4 and 4 in the pack, all come back to meet the jammers.
Oh, gorgeous little spin there from Delta Strike. She does put a foot to the inside, so has lead, will reset. Maran, though, with a track cut, so it's a power jam for Brawling.
I saw that track cut from here. I saw the toast out over the line.
You saw it, Sven, did you? You saw that track cut. I did not. I was too busy watching Delta spin. Lovely power kill here by Dock City. And actually, Delta is going to call that jam. They're going to take the power start instead. Dock have really settled into that reforming defence this half. I really wish they'd had it more in the first half, because I think that could have made this scoreline a little bit more contentious.
Yeah, I mean, I think London have basically dominated this game. A lot of it basically by keeping the players on track.
Yeah,
and that
does tend to help.
It helps a lot, especially, I mean, there's not a massive difference looking at the spread of penalties, but you can see with the main blocker line for Dock City, they've just had just a few more penalties than necessary, really, than they would have liked to have had, I think, whereas London have kept their heads a bit more, managed to avoid the penalty trouble. And I think that's just really, it's helped their flow of momentum as the game's gone on.
Yeah, Dixie would lead for London on a scoring pass. Big fall from Madge there, but she pops back up. And Dixon, Texasi and Madge have caught Maran. Ramit throwing in the offense for Dixie, who's having a hard time there against Malice Babs.
And Ramit now back to pick up Maran.
There's the star pass being offered to Malice Babs, but not quite in the perfect position. And so Maran tries the stash in the inside line.
And now the call off. So London pick up 6, sorry, in that jam.
Seven.
Oh, 199 plays 56.
And are we going to have time for another jam?
I think.
Are they not going to make the 200? Oh, come on, I really wanted. Oh, I jinxed it, didn't I?
We dropped at the unofficial end of game.
Oh, go on, just give them one more point. 200 will look so nice.
Is there something putting you off about not having that round number?
No, it's just that I said it would be nice for them to get 200, and now they're not letting me do it. So unofficial score, which has been shown on the scoreboard in venue, is 199 to 56. We will just wait for that whistle to be blown. Getting a lovely shot of our crowd there. That's the final whistle. Your final score for Game 1 of EuroCup 2023 is Dock City Rollers 56, London Roller Derby taking the win with 199. What a great start to this fabulous tournament. This means that London will go on to play the winner of Crime versus Helsinki, which is coming up next, and that Dock City will play the loser of that game. So we have more tasty roller derby for you throughout the day.
That next game in about 30 minutes. So that's 11 o'clock local time here in the UK. But I think that scoreline, it doesn't really, again, it's one of these scorelines that doesn't do the game justice. It makes Dock City look like they were rolled over. But I think actually London had a job getting some of those points. It was only the fact that I think London took advantage early on in the first half of some big power jam opportunities that they had. You know, we saw some big scores going up.
I think if Dock City can stop that penalty spiral going to the next game, it will be a lot more contentious. And yeah, as you say, we've both watched Dock City play a lot. I don't think that's a reflective of their true ability as a team. But that said, what a great second half for Dock City. Really pulled a lot of it back. And London will have to go, that wasn't an easy win for London. They'll have to go away and make some adjustments prior to the next game. But we are going to leave you be, so you may stretch your legs, get some fresh air, fill up your beverage of choice. I'm not going to judge you for whatever that may be. It's Saturday morning. Do what you want. And, come back here at 11 o'clock, local time, as you say.
Yep.
Urmston local time for Crime City Rollers versus Helsinki Roller Derby.
And I'm going to go back there and smash out some deadlift PBs.
I was going to say, look, we've got it's arm day. It's arm day, Sven. So let's do it. But we'll turn the camera off before that happens.
Probably, yeah.
For the good of the people.
We'll see you. Well, someone will see you back here for the next game at 11 o'clock local time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. See you later.